Okay, I think we're all good and ready to go here. YouTube usually has a few 20 seconds of lag or so before the actual thing, so we should be all set here. But yeah, we're gonna let a few people hop in here while we get things all set up, and we're gonna go over this, this Modern Horizons 2. We haven't opened any. I like some of you asked, like when you see behind me, I have all of these different boxes of product and stuff, and some I buy because I think they have good long term value. Some I just want to have. Some I pick up for various reasons to do giveaways throughout the year, whatever. But then there's stuff like this, like on Modern Horizons 2, where I managed to get a deal on a few. So I'm like, I'll take a chance. I'll buy a couple of them and we'll open them at some point in the future and see what we get inside. So today is going to be a fun experiment. It's going to be, is it worth it to buy and open boosters of Modern Horizons 2, right? Because we're talking over 2 years later since they came out. Is it a thing? We know a lot of the cards are still playable. We know a lot of the cards still sought after, but are there enough that are actually worth something that make it worth opening? So that's what we're going to get into today. Hey, Trex, how's it going? Getting to settle in here after doing a bunch of commentary through the weekend. Back to my normal background that y'all are used to seeing. That's the other thing. I was having to do some green screen work as part of our commentary gigs, so that's always a thing. But yeah, really, really fun stuff today. I haven't opened one of these boxes in forever, so I have no idea what to expect or what the value is going to be. So it should be pretty interesting. But let me see. I should have this set up so I can get to my top down screen and I'll move to the other camera. Yeah, there we go. Looks like I bumped it, so it's not like totally straight. Let me figure that out for y'all so you're not looking at this gross setup. I tell people all the time, like, if y'all could see the rest of my desk, y'all would just freak out. Actually, the rest of this room a bunch of the time, because I think one of the things we don't talk about as creators is we're very good at letting you see what we want you to see. I mean, we have a lot, like for me, especially, I have stuff all over this place. Like, if this camera moved 3 inches one way or the other, y'all would be just thinking I'm the most slovenly person ever, I think. But yeah, we do have a box of Modern Horizons here. We're going to try to get this open and see what we can do. Is our stream still coming? There we go. Okay, it wasn't showing for it. I thought we lost the feed on the box. That would have been kind of weird. But nope, it's still there. All right, let's crack this open. And this is important. Like, I thought about opening this before the stream started, but believe it or not, when I've done box openings before, I have knuckleheads that are like, how do we know you actually opened a fresh box and you didn't just put cards in there or whatever? I'm like, who even does that? Like, and even if I did, what does that do for me? Like, whether I open up great cards or not out of this don't matter at all, right? I don't really understand why that's a thing for people to be concerned about, because if we open up great cards, great. If we open up bad cards, great. Like, I have no real investment in how good or bad these cards are that we open. This is just for fun, for the experiment, to have something to talk about, have a fun stream with y'all that we can just have some conversation and talk about cards that we open. That's what this is about more than anything else. But yeah, let's go ahead, start cracking into these and see what we got. Also, thanks for the early viewers here, because I just decided I was going to do this earlier. Partly because some things changed with my plans today. As it turns out, I sell, trade some of my singles and stuff through a few different sites. And one of the ones I've done some business with, turns out they are not going to be closing. So that's actually pretty cool. So that sort of changed up some things today. But I will say, while I have an opportunity, if you are going to pick up any, not just Magic stuff, but gaming stuff in general, be sure to check out my sponsor over at CoolStuffInc.com. They're really nice people, really great. They support a lot of awesome content creators, and you can save 5% if you use code DRAGON at checkout. So go do that. Also, if you're going to be near the Orlando area next week, I believe, or no, this coming weekend, they're going to be doing, wait, no, it's next weekend. God, there's so many things going on. They have a Command Fest coming up. Go to commandfestorlando.com. You'll get details. I don't know. I think since Vegas, I've not really been caught up yet. I feel like I've just been behind mentally since Vegas happened. I just got so wore out that weekend. And not even from doing like Vegas things, mostly just because I've just been like at that event, I was going nonstop and I talked to so many people and it was great. It was awesome. So I'm not complaining. It was just a long, hard weekend. And then I had business to do before and after. But yeah, let's open some packs and see what we get. Do do do. I have no idea how this is gonna go, so let's see. I'm gonna ignore for the most part the art cards because they don't really have value. Foil lands are like meh. You know, we'll just figure out the rest as we go here. This set did have. Let me move the microphone over here a little bit so y'all can hear me a touch better. There we go. Maybe I'll angle it down some, and I'll just move it back when I move the camera back over. But there we go. You're gonna have camera. Is this? It's I don't know. Microphone in my face is a little weird. I don't know what. That's gonna be a bad viewing experience for y'all. But yeah, nothing that's too crazy here. If y'all see something that stands out that you think I missed, be sure to let me know. There's a fair amount of commons and uncommons in the set I'm probably not going to identify. But Karth the Lion, I'm pretty sure never ended up being anything. Wonder didn't ever. I mean, Wonder was basically like a reprint. Abundant Harvest, I don't remember that really being anything. The junky foil that I'll just set aside. All right, so pack one produced little to none. So that's already one down. Welcome, Michael. Good evening to you. What's popping? Packs. We're popping packs. Like Macklemore, and he was in the thrift store. He was popping tags, but we're popping packs. You did a sealed for MH2. That was pretty fun. Yeah, I heard this was actually a fun set to play sealed with. I never got to do it. Holder cards. The holding cards right up to the camera only does so much. Like, they're just, the focus is going to change, and like you can see stuff, you can't see stuff. Like, it's just kind of weird lighting and stuff. This is more for the experiment and the conversation more than anything. If we come across something good, I'll make sure we highlight it. I've run into that before dealing with packs, but yeah, I'm gonna skip most of the comments again. If y'all know of one that you see that I kind of flash by, feel free to let me know. I think I wanted Tireless Provisioner to be something, and it never really was. I thought it was going to at least be something because it has a lot of words on it that seem relevant, but it just kind of never really got there, unfortunately. I thought it was gonna, and it just kind of never really did. I was very sad about that. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Tireless is solid in EDH. That is a good call out. Chitter Spitter, not really anything unless you probably played just the Squirrel deck, I imagine. But kind of cool. We got the Borderless Dakin. Shadow Slayer, that's kind of cool. Let's see if I can get it in better focus for y'all here. Let me see if I can bring up this camera app and make it a little bit better for y'all. Try to adjust the focus here. Don't know if I really can, but I'm going to try. It might actually be close to set to where it's going to be, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a cool looking card. Again, not one that's worth a ton, I don't think. I can go check while I'm looking. I'll probably go back and edit actual value as I go through this. So a final video, people might actually get to see, you know, the value of it. What is this thing called? The Shadow Slayer. It is worth, yeah, not much, like a buck. Oh, actually, that's not the borderless version. I think the borderless version might only be like 50 cents more or something. So yeah, not really getting a bunch of extra value, honestly. Yeah, you're only adding like 25 to 50 cents. So yeah, call it $1.25, and that's kind of where you're at on this. So far, haven't really opened up a whole lot, but I'm not expecting a bunch here. Like I said, this is more seeing, since the box prices haven't really changed a bunch. I mean, they've gone up maybe $20, $30 in the 2.5 years since it came out, if there's actually enough real value here. But yeah, we'll save that with the rares. Let's see. Boop. Is the camera frozen? No, I'm looking at it live on YouTube right now. It's still up. I can see it through OBS, and I can see it through StreamYard, and I can see it on YouTube. So it's showing in all three places. Oh, the selfie cam frozen. Yeah. That looks like it is. I don't know if I can fix that one for you. That one's more of a problem. That one's more of an issue. I think I know how I could fix it. Here, give me one quick second. I think I know exactly what I'm going to do. I think I can do this and not hurt anything. It's going to go black for a second. So don't worry, we're not going anywhere. Stream should still be live, I think. We're going to test this. I'm risking breaking it all. Actually, no, I don't have to do that. Hold on a second. Maybe I don't. I was going to say I'm risking breaking it all for you, but maybe I don't have to. Let's try this here. Does that let it? Yeah, okay, there you go. You'll be fine now. I didn't have to risk everything for you. There you go. We're back. Hey, MTG Goldfish, how's it going? No big hits so far. We're only like 3 packs in, though. By the way, if y'all, I'm going to say that, and I know Seth probably doesn't want me to dote on him or whatever here, assuming that's Seth on the MTG Goldfish account. But you really one of the funnest people to be around. Like, I think there are people that you see in entertainment and in streaming or whatever, and you wonder if they're like that in person. And they absolutely are. Like, jovial dude, just really funny, like lots of positive energy, like the type of people that we just need more of in the community. You know, not people that are just doom and gloom all the time and everything's hateful and whatever. Like, so yeah, if you haven't paid any love to Seth, you probably should. Go follow him over on socials. You can find him at Saffron Olive, I think just about everywhere. Seriously. But yeah, so Vindicate and some pointless art. Like, we keep doing these weird frames in every set, and none of these really end up being worth anything. I don't know why we spend our times doing that. I wish I could get this in better view for y'all, because it looks good on this camera, but looks bad coming through there. But you feel the same about me. Thank you so much. But yeah, and then just random foil that's bad. All right, so we've only, oh, that's not true. We got a cranial plating in the list slot. And let me say this, at least cranial plating is a real card people will play with. Like, I get mad when you have a list card that's like like I had one the other day. What was it? Oh yeah, this thing. I opened this up and I think it was maybe a Lord of the Rings booster or something. And I'm like, who wants this card? Like, nobody wants an Oaken Brawler. Seriously. Like, I would rather not have a card at all, because the issue for me is that if you want somebody to open something special, you want it to feel special when they open it, right? And if they open the rare thing and it's a thing that's like a 6-cent card that nobody wants, what was the point of having that in a special slot? Because nobody needs it as a reprint, right? Nobody's missing that for a deck. It's not in any big major deck that anybody's playing. And it's not a cool surprise when you open. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everything in the list slot needs to be crazy expensive. I mean, again, cranial plating, it's not expensive, but it's at least a card people are going to play with. You know what I mean? Like, it's a card that has a place and we know what it does, and it's in competitive decks. So this makes a lot of sense to at least have available. And it's cool. It's in the old frame and everything. That's awesome. But it's at least something, you know? And then when you do get the really big card in the list slot, it's awesome. So I kind of feel like we should do that more often. Just make the list cards better, Wizards. That's all I'm asking. That's true. Vindicate, that's the thing about Vindicate, though. It's a good card. It's playable, but I'm pretty sure Vindicates are down to only being worth $1 or $2 now, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let me check it out over here. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong on Vindicates. Oh, no, that's not true. That's the old one. Let me see. There's so many versions of these. Modern Horizons 2, right? All right, cool. Yeah, that one's $1. Like, I was looking at the old ones. Yeah, Modern Horizons 2 Vindicates are only $1. So far, we've only opened like 3. Well, we'll call it $4 worth of stuff so far. So far, not a good shot. Not a good spot. Yeah, Vindicate totally has a lot of reprints. Like, totally understandable. And I get it. Like, totally worth reprinting, honestly. I think Vindicate's a great card. But the reality is, once you reprint it a bunch, it's just not worth anything. And that's something I'm going to talk about a bit on our podcast this week, is that I don't think people really understand. Like, if you want everything reprinted, then eventually stuff has no value, you know? And I don't think people have really understood that. Like, if you want everything reprinted, then you can't open expensive cards anymore, or you can't sell stuff anymore. And that becomes a whole different issue. What is Michael saying here? Saying, I wish they would add more older basic land cards to the list. At least they're nice to have. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I hadn't really thought about that because we have done a lot of versions of just kind of odd lands that were maybe in Cold Snap or something and never got printed again. I don't know if those would be any better in the list slot, but I don't know. It's kind of, I would rather have one of those than have like an Oaken Brawler. So there's an argument to be made there, honestly. Like, that's a neat idea. Like, I would probably have to dig deeper into which lands are worth reprinting because there are some that are worth more than others that could still be fun in those slots. And it would at least be more exciting than the Brawler, I think. Trek says, I love listening to Color of Magic podcasts while I'm on my treadmill. I listened to a lot more when I had a commute to work. So that makes a lot of sense. When you already have your daily activity, whatever it is, it makes it easier to listen to podcasts. All right. So these all commons, really nothing going on there. All right. All right. Oh, Soul Talisman. This is another one that, I mean, it has the words that people like, but it just, yeah. I don't even know if I've even seen this in a deck yet. Honestly, like of any kind. And it feels like if anywhere, this might end up being some type of, I don't know, maybe some type of legacy weird thing or something. But yeah, it never popped up anywhere to my knowledge. Okay, Greed is kind of cool. Whoa, yeah, I didn't realize they actually had the expansion symbol in the background on Greed there. These, again, weird borders that don't do anything, and foil that did nothing. All right. I have to admit, even for being set boosters, I think we've only had one of these that had multiple rares in it so far. Yes, Slow Ring. That's a good way to describe that card. It's not at all what people wanted it to be. That's for sure. All right. Yeah, art cards are cool, but don't really ever have any. But I thought at some point maybe the art cards that have like the gold signature or something would be worth a thing, but I don't even see those being traded hardly. So that project, and it's tough because I kind of like them existing because it still gives extra credit to the artist. And if you're a fan, you can get those pieces with just a full art piece, which is kind of cool. But outside of that, I don't really know what else we do with them. They just kind of exist to exist. Suspend. And Bone Shredder. It's a cool card to play with, but not of any value. And another weird art, Kitchen Imp. And Legion Vanguard, which is just random foil. Okay, a good example we were just talking about on the list, Boggart Arsonist. Who needs this card? Why is this on the list? I mean, I guess it's unique in the sense that it's a red card that planeswalks. But yeah, it's not great. Uh-oh, looks like my camera froze on me. That's not good. All right, let me see if I can fix that real quick. I don't know why I'm having camera issues for some reason. Hadn't really happened before on here. Let's see. Oh, am I going to have to completely reset it? That's going to suck. Are we back? We are back. Okay, cool. We got it. But yeah, so I don't know. I like the concept of the list. I like the idea that we can reprint cards that we don't have a good spot for or something. I think that's always really nice. But yeah, I'm not into the idea of just putting junk in there. Like, honestly, it's kind of like if you play at a local store and they have the prize boosters. I like the idea that they exist. I don't like the idea that a foil prize booster exists because now when somebody wins a prize booster, if it's not the foil one, they feel like they didn't get the good thing for doing the extra effort to get the thing. Right? So like we either need the thing to be special or it's not special. But having it be somewhere in the middle, it's just kind of weird. I'm not really sure who that benefits, honestly. And it ends up being like another SKU or product that Wizards has to print for no reason because there's no real additional value coming from it at this point. All right. So we got a Sanctum Weaver. I've at least actually seen this in play in a Commander game. So that one at least has done something. Necrogoyf. I've never seen this played either. Disappointing. and a Mishra's Factory with a newer art, and a junky uncommon that does nothing. All right, and then a foil that doesn't. We've not hit on a foil or one of the weird art cards yet, or frame cards, I should say. All right, and I'll speed this up a bit. I like talking a lot while we do this and just kind of like socializing. All right, let's go through all these. Get down to actually, I do have to look for a couple of the uncommons because there are a couple in the set that are worth a little bit. But all right. Arcana Cruelty. Here's a little something. I know this one's a little bit of a thing. Archon. Let me see what these are worth. Should probably have this on screen for y'all next time whenever I'm looking stuff up. That'd be smart. Yeah, so this one's like $10. This is an actual card. So we finally hit something worthwhile. There you go. Not terrible though. Not terrible. This is good. We could live with this. I'm into it. Maybe we have something else behind it because there's a few cards here. All right, Goblin Bombardment. That's cool. It's also weird that Goblin Bombardment is one of the few cards recently that got upshifted, right? Because this used to be an uncommon in Tempest, I think it was. Granted, that was, I don't know, 20 years ago. Like that was a while, but yeah, and now it's rare. But it is still a powerful card. Like anytime somebody plays this in a commander game, you're automatically concerned about where the token's going to come from. You know what I mean? And then nothing. Oh, okay. Hold up. Now we're talking a Fury in foil. Now this is something. And I'm pretty sure this is a pretty penny. Yeah, this is $50. This is 50 bones, y'all. This pack alone was worth more than the last 4 that we opened. So yeah, this pack did all right. This one was checking some boxes. It did all the heavy lifting. And then random token, a clue token. All right, but this is why I wanted to open it, because there's stuff like that in here. Talking 2 cards. That one pack was worth like $60. But we also opened 4 packs that were worth like $1. So it could be anywhere in between with this stuff. And that's kind of the gamble, if you will. All right, let's get past all these. Nothing. Oh, okay, a Verdant Catacomb. Okay, well, maybe the packs were just slow rolling us, getting our hope set really low. But yeah, Verdant Catacombs, we'll take that all day. And a Mog Salvage. Oh, I pulled 2 cards there. Nope, nothing. All right, Mana Collapse. Okay, fair enough. And then random foil. Cool. All right, we're doing something now. Haven says, "What's the money cards?" There's a lot, honestly. There's like you just saw. There's fetch lands. There's all the elementals. There's a pile of different cards in the set that are worth something. If we want to know stuff to target while we're going through these, let's see. Let me pull up sets, and we'll just go through and call out a few here that we may be looking for. Pull up Modern Horizons 2. All right, let's look at just what the average high rate. Well, Fury, obviously, we opened one of those already. But there's Ragavans in the sets, Urza Sagas, Solitude, Endurance, Grief. Those are all the elementals, no surprise. Esper Sentinel is also in this set. Like we said, all the fetch lands. Murktide Regent, that's played in a bunch of decks right now. Cabal Coffers was a big reprint. Dothy Voidwalker, which is still showing up in a lot of things. Arcana Cruelty, which we opened one of those. Chatterfang, surprisingly, still carries a little bit of value. People want those. There's one of the swords in here. So there's a lot of things. And you don't need to hit all the big ones. It's just, can you hit enough average of the small to middle ones, right? If we can get a bunch of $5, $8, $10 ones, I'm good if we don't open any more like $20, $30, $40 cards. Yeah, under promise, over deliver. That's my plan for pretty much everything in life, right? I think too many people hype things up, and then you have to live up to a very high bar, right? But if you tell somebody, "Oh yeah, I could deliver this, and I can get it to you by Friday," and then you get it to them on Thursday, you look like a hero. But if you tell them you can get it to them on Thursday, and then it gets there at the end of the day or on Friday, now all of a sudden you look bad. I think people need to apply that to more things in life. Okay, here we go. This little Zabaz ended up not doing anything to my knowledge. Milliken, nope. And I guess that means we have only one rare in this pack. Yep, looks like it. Unless we'd hit a foil rare, but no deal. I mean, it's going to be hard to top the pack, that previous pack with the Fury and the Archon. Like, that's pretty tough. That's probably going to be the ceiling, honestly. Because barring getting a special frame foil version of something, it's going to be pretty hard to top that. And it would have to be that of one of the top, like, 5 or 6 cards in the set. Okay. Out of time. You know what? I forgot about this card. You know, here's a funny thing. I was talking about this the other day, and I feel like this is a topic I should go on the podcast. But we've kind of come around to the point because Wizards has printed so many cards recently that we're back to the point of playing games, especially of Commander, where people are playing cards and you almost kind of forgot they existed. So it gives you that like unique discovery experience all over again. And I don't think that was intentional, but it's been kind of interesting because, you know, back in Vegas, I played a couple of Commander games with people and they played cards that I went like, oh yeah, that's still a Magic card. But it was kind of fun not being able to plan around it or thinking about it even existing. And then just being surprised that like, oh yeah, you're playing that card. That's cool. So, you know, so while I don't love that there's a ton of new cards, I actually kind of like that aspect of it. I don't know what that says about me. Probably means I'm a little crazy, but I kind of dig it, you know? EDH, a great format just to play some random cards. Yeah, I agree. It's why I'm a big proponent of, you know, there's not as many staples as people think. It's funny. We were just saying that. Get a different border of the Arcana Cruelty, which we opened one a second ago. Now we got a second one with the special border. That's cool. Or special frame. I keep saying border. These are frames, I guess, is the official terminology. Angel Courier, junk. All right. That wasn't bad either. But yeah, I don't believe, and then maybe that's the other part too, right? With Wizards printing so many cards, it actually makes it to where some things can't be staples in a way, right? Because people go, oh, you're playing white, you have to play, I don't know, whatever card, right? But it ends up not necessarily being true because there's a bunch of different cards to do something similar. There's you know, like maybe monologue tax, right? Somebody says, oh, you should be playing this. Like maybe, but if it doesn't totally go along with what I'm doing, do I want to play that? Or sometimes you just want to do some cool stuff and you're just out of space, right? That's my issue right now. Both with my Elf deck and with my Hamza deck, there's a bunch of cards I want to add to those. And I have a stack of probably 30 extra cards that sometimes I'll rotate 1 or 2 in. And then there's some that have never made the cut in the deck, even though I want to play them. And it's not like those decks are maximized on any level, because I definitely don't play any type of CEDH stuff, nothing competitive. But it's just like, I don't know if I enjoy that card as much as this other card, even though it happens to be an elf or happens to put +1/+1 counters on things. So I kind of like that there's a lot of options and forces us to pick and choose a little more, because I feel like there was a phase in the very beginning where we all just played whatever, right? It was the Wild West, World of Discovery. We all just played whatever we wanted. And then as more people get in the format, and then, you know, websites came around where people could see deck lists, then it kind of became like, well, this is the most popular card. Like at one point, if you played green, you played Sylvan Library no matter what, right? It was an expensive card. It was a popular reprint because every green deck was playing Sylvan Library. Now I see maybe a third of the green decks I play against with Sylvan Library. Actually, I don't even think I have Sylvan Library in the 2 decks I was just talking about, and they're both green. Actually, that's not true. My Elf deck might have a Sylvan Library. I know for sure I don't have one in the Hamza deck. But there's a point in the past where I would have just automatically said, like, oh, we should be playing Sylvan Library. Philip says the more niche synergies they print or add to the less reason to have staples, since there will be cards that fit into some type of decks better than others. Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is just, again, while it's tough that they're printing so many cards, it is giving us more options. And that's also good because if you do see, you know, like in my case, if I see another Hamza deck, they might take it in a whole different direction, right? They might be getting their +1/+1 counters a different way, or leaning on some planeswalkers to do things or whatever. Whereas mine's going to look very different than theirs. Now, obviously, because of what they do with their core, there'll be a few cards, probably 10 to 20 that we're both going to be playing for sure. But it's cool not knowing what the other cards are going to be. And I like that. Let's see. Meathook and Fable are high dollar. I could use a common for my. Yeah. To be fair, though, like Meathook Massacre is so unique and unreal for the value it provides, right? Like the minute that card came out, we all knew that card was going to be something. Now, I didn't think we thought it was going to be as dominant as it was, but we all knew it was going to be good. And when you start thinking about it in the context of Commander, when stuff's like constantly dying and you're gaining life every time and your opponents are losing life from your stuff, it's like so much value on that card. Even if the thing about that card is crazy is even if you play it for 0, which I did several times, even in an aggro deck, like it almost still function as a finisher at times. Like that card is super good. Almost doesn't matter the type of deck that you're playing. I don't enjoy cards like that. Like I feel like there at least should be some level of thought of if we're going to play it or not. I mean, even as absurd as Shieldred is, there's at least a few times you don't play Shieldred. You almost always played Meathook Massacre. Oh, I just realized too. There was somebody over a couple weeks ago we were talking about, mostly just because the Flame Tongue is here. Oh, our camera froze again. Gosh dang it. What's going on? Why are you like this? Why are you treating us like this today? What's happening? All right, let's see. We got it back. All right. But Flame Tongue Kavu. We lived in a world, for those of you who don't know what Flame Tongue Kavu is, it's a 4 mana, 4/2. When it comes into play, it deals 4 damage to a creature. So basically a bigger version of this. But Flame Tongue Kavu was almost goated at one time. Like, that tells you how different Magic is. A card that was a 4/2 for 4, comes into play, deals 4 damage to something, was so good that it was in so many decks that it basically the entire time it was in standard, it showed up somewhere, which is crazy. Thoughts on proxies? I don't really care for them, but my games aren't high powered, so you don't need proxies. I feel like if you need a bunch of proxies to play in my games, you're playing a different type of Commander Magic than I'm playing. If you have one or two, because maybe you don't want to swap out cards from different decks or whatever, you just want to test something out, I don't have a problem with it. I'm also not going to tell you not to play proxies. Those are your games. Those are your cards. If the people at your store and your table say go play with them, go play with them. People are welcome to play the way they want to. Do I think proxies should be allowed in official tournaments? No. There's a reason they're official. They're promotional events. You're giving away prizes. You're qualifying people for Worlds. It makes sense. You have to have actual cards. There you go. Everybody wants to ask everybody's opinion on proxies. Mine's the same. I've given that spiel probably like 100 times. I think people make way too much out of the proxy argument. I really do. I think there's a lot of things we make. I think people make too much of the rule 0 argument. I think there's too many people trying to come up with a perfect numbering system for your decks. I think there's a lot of things we worry about and we do that just aren't solving any problems. We have better things to discuss and worry about. So the green Urborg in this set too. Oh yeah, is it Yavimaya? I think that all lands count as force. By the way, Heaven, I want to say I don't have a problem with your question. I don't want it to come off like that. I just think it's funny that that's so much on people's mind that they have to ask it. Or like I still have a video. Matter of fact, just do a search on my channel about proxies. Just put it in PROX and it should come up. And I have a whole video about it where I talk about it. And that'll probably be a more complete answer for you. But all right, what do we got here? We've got Unmarked Grave. Okay, Enchantress's Presence. At least this one's playable. That's all right. And nothing at the foil. All right. So far, this has been like a medium box. We've gotten through, I'm going to guess there were 30, so about 11 packs already so far. Let's see. Just threw it out since we talked about high-dollar cards like Meathook or Shieldred. Yeah, and in those cases, for sure, if you wanted to play one, I would at least understand, right? It's like, but at the same time, like I said, I have access to a lot of cards. And there are times I still will just go, you know what? Let me just play this other thing that's lesser, but still does a fun thing for the deck. Because I'm not playing in any competitive games, I don't feel the need to have proxies, right? Because unless certain cards not existing in my deck keep my deck from being able to do the thing I want it to do, I don't think I have to have the card. I think and again, this is a personal thing, but I feel like when you're proxying something, I almost feel like for me, it feels like there needs to be a need for the card. Whether that need is this deck only functions if these 5 or 6 cards are in here, or like I really want to test this card before I go spend money on it. But some purpose other than I just wanted to build this deck and I'm putting all these proxies in here, which I see some people do, and again, I'll let you watch the video first, and then you can post a question on the video if you want, because I feel like I'm going to say a lot of things that are just in the video all over again. But yeah, let's get into more of these. All right, so we got the regular Dakin, which we already know is only like 75 cents or whatever, so nothing prize. Oh, it looks like that's all that's there. Though Azuran Orb is actually a pretty sweet card. I don't mind that. And Lens Flare, and nothing. So, yep, not too exciting there. But yeah, again, I'm not going to fault anybody. Like, proxies are a thing. Man, why does this camera... I'm going to have to double check what's going on with my settings on this, because this camera keeps wanting to be a butt. Let's see. All right. At least I have a shortcut to fix it immediately when I catch it. But yeah, technology. That's actually... We were talking about this earlier. That's kind of the secret to being a content creator. You're constantly solving tech issues. That's what it's all about. All right. What do we got? Oh yeah, all right. Territorial Kavu. I forgot this was a card too, but it is a actual Magic card. And Sea Drake, which is really nothing. Nothing. What is this? Okay, this is a card I actually forgot existed. World Weary. 5 mana, enchanted creature gets -4/-4. It has basic land cycling. Yeah, outside of just draft indications, this card's not great. I hate that cards like this exist. Actually, let me be more specific. I hate that cards like this exist in higher price boosters. And now, don't get me wrong. I think you still need to do your best to try to balance it so people that want to draft it can draft it. But everything we know, yeah, again, something crappy in the list slot, Root Runner. Nobody really needed that. Oh, sorry. But everything we know pretty much says that the more expensive boosters are, the less times people draft it, right? And that makes logical sense because drafts just end up being really expensive. Like, you're not going to go out when a set is $10 or $12 boosters and draft 10 times, right? You might do it once, sometimes twice if you have the budget. That's about it. Now, these weren't that expensive. I believe these were like $6 or $8, something like that. But even then, people are going to draft less. So you should want fewer cards to be open that people will never play with. Right? It's the same reason I have a problem. Like, it's a tough space when you're making, say, mythics, right? Because you want mythics to be very unique and different and do a really cool thing. But at the same time, if they're so different that there's no home for them, we've now created that situation again where somebody opens a special thing, but it's not really special because there's nothing to do with it, right? Without having to explain this really contrived Rube Goldberg machine of a deck to make a thing work. And that's not cool. But yeah, it's a tough spot. I'd rather there just be better cards, or even if you're gonna make a card that's less useful in any constructed format, at least try to make it thematic to a thing that exists, right? Like, if we're gonna make a weird creature, let's try to make it an elf, a goblin, an angel, a knight, something, right? That people play decks based around that already. So at least there's a chance it might matter to some number of people. Other than just like, oh, and it happens to be an oof or something, right? Like, just that's always bad. So it's like, it's a bad card and it doesn't fit anywhere anybody wants. But it's cool if you get one in limited. And it's like, yeah, but because you're gonna have a lot of experiences like this, right? After the set initially comes out, outside of like special events, hardly anybody's going to ever draft Modern Horizons 2 again. So if we open things that are only good for limited today, they have pretty much no value, effectively. That's something else I think we don't talk about enough. All right. So past the uncommons to... Well, there's a lot. That means there's not going to be a lot of rares in here, huh? Yeah. The Cryptozoologist. This is a Cool looking card. I don't think I've really seen this do much, but I could be wrong. But I don't think I've ever seen that at any of my tables. Another greed, which we got one of those earlier. Oh, wait, what is this? What is this? Hold on. That's cool looking. I don't think I've seen that. The fancy Mishra's Factory. Foil, no border. That is cool. It was weird when you saw just the top of it, it almost looked like one of those stained glass cards. And I was like, there were stained glass things in here? When did that happen? Yeah, this camera is not having a good time today. This is very disappointing. All right. Yeah. So what I was saying is when you look at it, when I was sliding the cards, it looked like a stained glass thing, but it definitely wasn't. Let me see if I could find Mishra's Factory and see what this version is. Because I have no clue. Let's see. Mishra's Factory from Modern Horizons 2. I guess it's under extras and foil. Yep, not that much. It's just $1. Looks fancy though. Like it looks real cool. Barely not worth a whole lot, but that's okay. Still sweet. I'm putting it in the pile to keep, I think. That's just cool. All right. MSU is good. I have shelved a couple of draft boxes. Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? Somebody might somewhere down the road, but that's going to be like a special event, kind of a rare situation that people are going to draft it at this point. Okay, what else we got? Oh, there we go. Esper Sentinel. This card, very good. Played pretty much, to my knowledge, every format it's legal in. Hell, I have one in one of my commander decks. Actually, I think I have this in my Hamza deck because it gets +1/+1s. So yeah. Oh my goodness. Why this? Sorry, y'all. This camera is having a bad time. I don't know what's going on. But all right. But yeah, Esper Sentinel. This card's very good. If you've never played with it, you're missing out. This card's really fantastic and very annoying to your opponents, but it does end up getting you a fair amount of extra cards usually. Do you have anything else to go with this? Another Vindicate, which we discovered earlier is about $1. And nothing. Foil? Nothing. All right. Oh, no, definitely not overheating. Like with it set up and where it's at, and it didn't even turn it on until we started streaming, it should definitely not even be close. And it's not a camera that even generates that much heat. My DSLR cameras that I'm using that are my direct face cameras, those would be more likely to overheat first. So it's probably a connection issue of some kind. Travis says, Sentinel is great. If White keeps getting card draw or even another card draw on a stick, it could fall. Yeah, that's true. White has gotten a lot of... It's funny how for about a year and a half, people are like, oh, White's the worst color in Commander, blah, blah, blah. And now they have a bunch of stuff and people are complaining. Kept sealed booster and set boxes sealed and open fat packs bundles for individual cards to play. I've done that a little bit myself. If I've ended up with extra fat packs or something, I've often opened those over my sealed stuff, my booster boxes, and just left those. Dahada's pretty sweet. Fun card to play with. And another Necrogoyf. We saw that one earlier. Yavimaya Elder's a nice card, but not valuable. And Chatterstorm in a weird border, which probably isn't more than 50 cents. Oh, Unholy Heat was a little bit of something for a minute. Oh, and Bruvac. There you go. This is actually a good card from the list. Look at that. We actually did a thing. I feel like when you get a good card from the list, it feels like we did something. Let's see what Bruvac currently is going for. 30 bones. There you go. So the list paid off. That is a good one. That is a real good hit. Thank you, Bruvac. you may be helping save our skin on this box. So that's actually pretty cool. Unholy Heat. I'm going to look that one up real quick too, because I don't know if that's still worth anything. Let's see. I don't think it is. It was pretty hot for a minute, but I don't think it ended up doing anything. Nah, it's down. Even the foil one's like $1 now. So yeah, that's what I thought. Like it lost its luster pretty quick. All All right, so we're not doing too bad. I mean, we've got a couple of Archons. We hit the Planeswalkers. We got a Bruvac. We've got the Foil Fury. We had something else in there too. So far, so good. Considering we're a little more than halfway through. All right, get this thing out of here. And the lands. Actually, I should probably save that heat. There we go. All right, where are we at? Hey, oh yeah, we had Verdant Catacombs, and now we got a Marsh Flats. So we're hitting some of the fetch lands, so that's good. Cursed Totem, which I don't think ever really did much, but this actually is usable. So I don't hate this. Like, this card at least has some value. Like, it's unique, but it actually does a thing. And it did not get a foil rare. That's sometimes where you can hit money in here, is when the rare slot's a foil too. So jelly of those fetches. I will be honest, I have a fair amount of fetches just because I kept mine from the first go round. So a lot of times when I get current stuff, I trade or sell them for other cards. Because, you know, I don't need to hoard them if I'm not going to be playing with them. All right. Priest of Felright. I remember seeing this on the list or not on the list, but when it got previewed. And I thought there was like an outside chance this is the type of card that could find its home in a few places, but never really saw it anywhere, honestly. A little bit surprised. Yep. Nothing here. All right. So that pack was mostly a dud. But can't complain. Like I said, we've actually... I don't know. I feel like maybe we've almost had an equal number of hits and misses, and I'm okay with that. That feels like that's above average. All right. Chef's Kiss. This is actually an interesting card, but pretty sure it's not worth much. Esmeralda Mordekaiser Kuldakar. Look at this thing. I've actually seen some decks playing this. I believe in Modern, I think is when I saw people play that. So it was kind of interesting to see if that actually made the cut and made decks around it. Counterspells always at least somewhat sellable. You'll sell them for like 5 or 10 cents on buy lists pretty regularly. And more borders with nothing. All right. Come on. Let's finish this up strong. Nope, don't want to bend the cards here. All right. Yeah, these packages feel like they're a little tougher than normal. Not quite as tough as the ones that are like produced in Japan, but they feel tougher than they should be. In before Ragavan? Yeah, we'll see if we hit one. All right. Let's see what we can do. I was going to see if maybe because you said it, we were going to open one. Yeah, that card's not really worth much. Quirion Rangers, not really a thing. Yeah, really nothing else there. Oh, Quirion Ranger and a Foil Ranger. And again, we got Painful Lesson. Another card we didn't need in the list slot. So our list cards were like 3 bad ones. These 3 so far. 1 acceptable one in Cranial Plating, and the Bruvac, which was exceptional. So yeah, it's like, again, I want the list to exist. It's a cool way to reprint stuff. We just don't need to reprint literally everything when nobody wants it. That's probably my one thing I harp on a lot. Like, I don't know. I guess it's the hill I'll die on or whatever. Ooh, this card I do like. Sylvan Anthem. I think this card has gone under-repped a lot. And I think I don't even play this card as much as I probably should. But being able to just give green creatures a bonus, and then on top of that, being able to scry every time you have one enter the battlefield. And the thing about this, too, is it says when a green creature enters the battlefield. This isn't when you cast one. Like, you could have a token maker that's letting you scry, which is great. Awesome when you're trying to hunt for stuff. If your deck already plays something like, what is that card? The 6-mana one that's when your opponent plays a spell, you reveal your top card. Oh, what is that thing? Lurking Predators, I believe, is the card. Like, that's a pretty fun one to play alongside this, too, because then you're getting to also set up your top card knowing what's coming, and then you get the creature for free or whatever, which is pretty neat. So cool stuff here. I like that. Again, not worth much. It's like a $2 card, but this one I do like having extras of. Seal of removal, not really much of anything. Ornithopter, nothing. Yeah, nothing too exciting there. Got a foil Asmarano. That's pretty neat. All right. Getting down to the last, what looks to be maybe 10 or so here. So won't be much longer. Let's see how we finish. Yozri, Fortune's Flame. That's pretty cool art too on this card. I dig it. Upheaval, though I'm not a fan of this card, at least I know people play with that. And nothing there. All right. So not bad so far. I don't think we've quite hit the $200. Now, admittedly, like I said in the very beginning, I think I paid like $180, $190 for these boxes. So I'm a little ahead, but that's because I got a deal when they initially were available. But if we're talking about the retail market, if people were to buy them now, we're still a bit short. Dustin Rich has a comment here, says, wanted to say thanks for all the content and good job on the commentary recently for the tournament. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, I did commentary. It's still up if you go check Magic's official Twitch channel. But yeah, I did commentary over the weekend for the Arena Championship 4 and had some really ridiculously well-played matches on that thing in Historic. Really, in some ways, changed my opinion of the Historic metagame a little bit, honestly. Oh, there you go. Dothy Voidwalker. This card's worth a bit. Like having that one. I thought maybe we'd get lucky and get something good behind it, but does not look like it. Oh, not true, not true. Dragon's Rage Channeler's a little bit of something there. This card's at least playable. I don't mind that. And another list card. Soul Catcher's Airy. At least I'll give credit to this one. At least it's older, coming from Judgment. So there's a chance that somebody just may not own this. But maybe that's the other thing. If we're going to reprint stuff in the list slot, let's try to make it stuff that's more than 10 years old. Maybe even more than 15 years old. Because then at least newer players, that'll still be a new card to them, right? There's a chance they just may not have one in their collection. It is really weird when I see something on the list that's just from like 3-4 years ago, because just like, who wants that, Oh, also, if y'all want to support the channel, don't forget I do have YouTube memberships that are basically like subscribing on Twitch, if you want to check those out, or also have merchandise, other thing, a bunch of stuff down in the description if you want to check it all out. There we go. Yavimaya. This is another fun one. I like this card a lot. Turns everything into forest. So if you have things that are forest walk, or you have things that just care about you having more forest, this is a really cool card. Big fan of this one. That's a nice one to open. And another. So this is our third fetch land out of this box. And it's our third different one. So that's pretty cool. And, this was a 3 rare box. Because apparently Fire and Ice got upshifted from uncommon to rare. I forgot about that. So there you go. So a 3 rare pack. Not bad. That is nothing to be upset about. Not only that, 3 rares, and they were all useful rares. So I can live with that. That makes up for a bunch of the 1 rare packs we had that had just trash in them. Okay. Now, this was interesting too, and maybe somebody in the chat knows why. But I've seen where you would get inserts of the art cards, and they had the artist's signature usually in gold foil, but I believe I've seen 1 or 2 in silver foil. But then there's some that just have the Planeswalker stamp. And my working logic is maybe they just couldn't get the signature from the artist, but they wanted to still include the art. So they made this a foil stamp to be like, instead of having the signature, which isn't nearly the same, obviously, but it's something. But I don't know if that's true. I sort of just feel like that's the thing, and I've convinced myself it's true, but I've not seen that written anywhere. So I don't know. But I found it interesting that there's some of these that exist with just the Planeswalker stamp. And the only reason I'm assuming that it's in lieu of having the artist's actual signature is because I've not seen any that have the Planeswalker stamp and then see some versions that also have the signature. It's either you have nothing or a signature or a planeswalker stamp, but I'm not seeing anything else. So yeah, doesn't really mean much. Again, they're not worth anything particularly unless you just find somebody that happens to be collecting them and values them maybe at $1 or so. But I did find that as an interesting thing. Sanctifier and Core. This one's actually cool. Good, useful card. Seal of Cleansing, not so much. And that other World Weary, and nothing. All right. Jay Bush says, I had a promo Yavi and my sealed pool, but traded it. Though, that's fine. I mean, I always tell people, don't ever, like, if you got what you wanted and you maybe filled out a deck or two, sure. Like, even when I trade with people and they're getting an extra $1 or $2 of value, I'm like, yeah, we're good. You can keep it. Like, they seem to freak out over it. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I know what cards are worth. I'm happy to get what I need to finish my deck. Like, you got some cards and everybody goes home happy. Hexproof for Monocolored. General Ferris Rakirik. Yep, not sure that's worth anything. And that's definitely not. And that's not. And that's not. Okay. So last couple of packs are making up for that triple rare pack. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. So after this one, we got 4 more. And then we'll do a quick review and kind of see what we have after all this. All right. What do we got going on? Oh, Nettlecyst. This one's not any good. Oh, see, I caught my camera right there when it was actually starting to have an issue. Hexproof is broken, though so much removal every deck. Yeah, there's a lot of sweepers, a lot of exile effects. Oh, Caldra Complete, though. That's pretty cool. Don't mind opening that. That's nice. That's a good little pickup. Riptide Laboratory, also not a bad pickup. Oh, and that pack was hot. That pack was hot. So we got 3 decent cards. Well, I guess 2. And then got a foil Scarred Intolerant. So that's neat. So that's a 4th different fetch land we open, 1 being foil. So that's actually really nice. So yeah, that's gonna help out quite a bit. And when we do the wrap up, that probably puts us over now. If not, we're real close. Open 2 Ragavans in your MH2 collectors. Oh, that's actually hot. That's super good. Congrats. That's pretty rare to get any mythic, really, for that matter, or rare, and get 2 of them. That's pretty good. Rise and Shine, not so much. Nothing. All right, can't be too upset. And again, Crown of Empires, at least it's something. It at least does a thing. Coincidentally, that's a decent reprint when you consider that Eldraine has the tap effect on things, right? And get bonuses. So that's another card that does that, which is kind of cool. Redundancy, if you're trying to build a commander style deck around it. That's kind of part of the thing, too, about so many cards being printed and some having similar abilities. It does give you the chance to have like a similar effect of a card 3 or 4 times in your deck sometimes. You can build around it a little more reliably, which is pretty cool. Do I have a deck list of my commander elves? Probably not, but if I do, it'll be on my Moxfield page. You can just look me up on there at Power Dragon, and it might, let me go check. I don't know. Maybe I do. I'm going to do a quick search for you. I know this isn't the most best viewing here. Let's see. I have my Handsmith deck, my Rith deck, and my Slivers deck in there. I do not have my Elf deck in there. I probably need to have it in there at some point just for convenience, because I'll eventually play it on somebody's stream, and then I'll need to have access to the list just so people have it. But no, I don't have. It's nothing special, though, honestly. It's literally just pick some elves that go together, have a couple that pump the team, have some things that give me bonuses for having creature types that are similar. And that's kind of the deck. It was pretty easy to put together. I didn't do anything fancy. Like if you're looking for super secret tech or something over the top, like I don't really do that in Commander. I play very casual, so mine are pretty basic. Another Scalding Tarn, though. So the first repeat fetch line we got, and that gives us 5 in total, I believe. So that's pretty cool. And a Mirari's Wake, also cool. Not worth a ton, just like $3 or so, but that's actually pretty neat. A Brainstone, which I'm not super excited about. And a foil land that we don't need. All right, 2 left. Yeah, I still play Mirari's Wake in a few decks. Actually, I say that. I only have it in one right now. I think I have it in my Rith deck. But that's partly because part of that deck is just trying to play big dumb creatures I never get to play with, so just extra mana is really nice. But I do not have one in something like my Hamza deck because I don't need huge amounts of mana oftentimes, and I don't have that many cards in hand to even use with it. Sylvan Anthem, another one, so that's pretty cool. Another counterspell. This not so much, and that not so much. All right. Let's see what this last one is. All right, if you're active in chat, let's play a game. If you can guess the rare or the foil, I'll give you 2 guesses. Everybody can put in 2 cards only. Got to put them in one comment. Put the rare you think it's going to be, comma, and the foil. If you get either one, I will take your information and I will send you a prize. So prize will be, I don't know, I have a bunch of stuff on the wall. Prize could be a lot of things. Actually, I have some cool stuff I picked up as well from Vegas. So who knows? We'll see. But I will definitely send something out. So let's make it interesting on this last one. So yeah, everybody who wants to, I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes here. You get 2 guesses. But it has to be one comment. That's the only one I'm gonna count if I go check. So it's got to be what you think the rare is, comma, what you think the foil is. Got it again. Track or Tarek, it's got to be one comment. So okay, see, like Jay Bush did it. It's Chatterfang, foil Grief. There you go. So Chatterfang, foil Murktide. Oh, y'all are pulling for me. If I get a foil Murktide, that'd be hot. Foil Wake, Mike, you got to put both guesses in one comment. So whatever you think the rare is, comma, foil Wake. It could be Wake, foil Wake if you want to, but I'm not gonna. If you say it and it's not formatted correctly, I'm not gonna count it. You don't have to get both right. You just get it one right, which means I might send out 2 prizes. If somebody gets the foil and somebody gets the rare, then I'm going to send out 2 things. This is just fun, just to do something extra here. So I'm going to give you all about 1 more minute. So Paul says Sithis and foil Sojourner. That's actually a pretty reasonable guess. I don't think we've opened those so far today. Arid Mesa and foil Counterspell. That would be neat. I like that. Ooh, we haven't opened an Urza Saga. That's a good call, Michael. I like that. Foils for the Saga and a foil Fury. All right. Rashidun Dakard and foil Profane Tutor. Ooh, okay. I can get behind that. And a lot of these are cards we haven't opened any of yet. So there's a good chance that they are still in here. At least percentage-wise. I mean, obviously you can have repeats because we got a second Sylvan Anthem. So it's possible. Rope says Arid Mesa and a foil Ragavan. Man, if we get that, we're celebrating. All right. Looks like everybody wants to play has got a guess in. All right. Here we go. We all have something at stake now. Let's see what we got. All right, let me pull these off camera. So I don't want to accidentally like show something before we're ready. So let me make sure we go just to the rares. All right, here we go. Well, that's nothing. So far, no excitement. Maybe there's another rare in here, though. Oh, there was another rare. Inevitable Betrayal. Not a good rare, but a rare. We still have a few cards here. There might be a third rare mythic. Hold on. Patchwork Gnomes. Wait, does that mean maybe we got to... Hold on. There's still a couple things in here. Nope. All right. I think we all missed. Let's see what the foil is. Oh, Soul Snare. I would have never guessed that. All right. We tried. We did a little something. All right. So let's take a look. Also, let me say, like, if you have a chance to buy packs, people ask me, do I rather get draft boosters or set boosters? My answer all the time, inevitably, is set boosters. And the reason is, one, I don't draft that much. Even most of the people who get draft boosters, unless you're planning to draft with the boosters, it's really not any better. Because every time we've done box openings on the channel that have had set boosters, we've always ended up with a significant number more rares and mythics than we would get opening a box of draft boosters. Not counting stuff from like the list and whatever, right? And extra foils and all that stuff. So even though oftentimes the price is going to be like $20 more a lot of times for a set booster, I feel like I've gotten more than $20 worth of difference out of them. And at worst, you're at least giving yourself more opportunities to hit those big cards, right? Because you only get whatever it is. I think the 36 in the set boosters or draft boosters. But even though you're only getting 30 boosters in the set boosters, you're getting a lot more opportunities to hit. So here we got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to separate rares and foils here real quick, just as a sample. This was a foil rare. I don't know how we want to classify that. We'll put it with the rares, though. Now, admittedly, not all rares and not all mythics are created equal. I understand that. So we'll come around and talk about value here in a second, because we did get a fair amount. But this is just kind of making the point between draft and set boosters. This technically was a list card, but list cards only come in set boosters, but still does count for overall value. Yeah, we actually got quite a few. Zornorb goes over there. That's a mythic. That's a mythic. That is also a mythic, as is that. And that's. All right, so for starters, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mythics. And I don't think I've ever opened more than 2 mythics, maybe 3 in a draft booster box ever, even before we had draft and set boosters. So generally speaking, this is already putting you well ahead of what we potentially could open in a draft booster box, right? And this is actually not bad value. We're talking about like the Mirari's Wake and the Caldra Complete have some mid-range value. Like the Archons are 10 to 15 bucks. The Foil Fury is like 50 bucks. The Dakins are like $1. But this is a pretty good chunk of value just in mythics. So that's actually pretty sweet. And then rares, obviously, you're talking about what we say that was 7 cards or whatever. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I guess I'll pull some of the value cards to the front though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Kind of. At least it's useful. 13, 14, 15, 16, because I know I can get the couple of bucks for it. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Got to check that one out. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 40. So we got 43 rares just by itself. So you're obviously well ahead on rares than we would have gotten from a draft booster box and the other 7. So we basically got like 50 rares and mythics. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. And then that's not even counting the random stuff from the list, which is mostly junk, but cranial plating at least is somewhat playable. And we have Bruvac, which is another $30 on top. So you're looking at 30. I don't know what foil Scalding Tarn is anymore. Those always seem to fluctuate between like 30 and 50 bucks. But that could be a pretty solid hit toward helping. Oh, these are worth even more than I thought. No, it's not. Okay, I was right. It's at the 25 to 30 range. That's what I thought. Okay. Whew. Thought I missed something there, and they like really jumped in value. So yeah, 10, we'll call that 35, 37, 38, 48, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So about somewhere between 90 and 100, and then not counting all the other like $1 things in there. There's a few there. So if 100, we got like 150, 60, 70, call it 180. To 10 and change. So probably somewhere around 220-ish if I were to just nitpick the value. Probably 220 to 230. So yeah, just barely over the $200 price of a box that you can find these for. But, you know, still with something. You know what I mean? We got some useful cards out of it. Definitely got our money back out of it. And there were still several big cards we didn't even hit, which is pretty cool. So yeah, something just to note. I don't think this is saying, go rush out and buy the boxes, but randomly did hold their value. Maybe even a little better than I thought they were going to, truthfully. Let me switch cameras on you here. Get back to our main camera here. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where we still kind of wonder, right? Because we're in a world where we're reprinting a lot of things. But stuff like in Modern Horizons 2 hasn't really had a spot to be reprinted, right? Until we get to, I guess they're about to do Modern Horizons 3, I think I saw in their announcement sometime next year. When that happens, then we'll be in a spot where they can finally reprint some of those things and it makes sense, right? Because those are things specifically made for modern and older. They're not going to put those in a bunch of other things. They don't necessarily even want those running all crazy in Commander. But maybe when that set comes out, some of these will drop in value, especially like the elementals, right? We're talking about like Fury and whatever. Those will I imagine those are going to drop by at least 20%. But there's also the weird thing too, like happened to Termagoy for a long time, where while the prices dropped 20% for a minute, sometimes 30, they slowly crept back up. And part of my reasoning there is that maybe because a bunch of people aren't going to rush out and buy using Termagoy as an, or maybe even using Fury as an example, right? Regular ones I think are still 25, 30 bucks. People aren't necessarily going to go spend $100 to get a full set of Fury, right? But they might spend 25 bucks if they only need one, because they opened other ones that were able to trade for them when they were cheap. And I think that's what slowly pushes value back up. It's not people buying it's people buying ones and twos. So it's a little bit of a weird thing. I don't know where it's going to go. People did not like what Modern Horizons 2 or even Modern Horizons 1 did to Modern. But we all accept that if you play those formats, these cards exist and you kind of have to play them if you're going to be competitive in those formats, right? So I don't know what that means. Are people going to rush out to want to buy Modern Horizons 3 because they know that these cards are going to affect the format? Is Modern Horizons 3 going to be half reprints? Because that could be a thing too, right? They said, hey, we printed these cards and now that people need them, they're all kind of expensive. Maybe we want to make some of those in the set. And honestly, that could help the set sell well, right? Because part of the reason this other set sold a little bit slower was because nobody knew if any of those things were going to be worthwhile or powerful. Now that they know, well, now you're basically seeding a set with a bunch of $8, $10, $20 cards. So that could be a thing as well. So I don't even know. Like there's so many ways it could go, truthfully. And we're all just kind of guessing, really, at this point. Scott says approximately 249 days until Modern Horizons 3. It's good to know. So what is that? Like not quite 6 months, not 5 months, 4 months, roughly? No, it's 30 days. So 8 months. We're still a long way away. Yeah, we got a long time. I don't know why in my head it was like 60 days for a second. But no, it's 30 days in a month. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, there you go. We opened a lot of great cards. The set still was fun to go through. Lots of useful stuff, even in the commons and uncommons. If you are playing stuff like, I guess if you were playing Pauper and whatnot, there's a lot of cards still useful in there too. So even going through somebody's Modern Horizons 2 bulk, you can probably find something useful. So yeah, I'm into it. This seems, I mean, I have 2 more. I'm kind of tempted to open one of the others and just try this experiment again. I'll probably wait, do it again in another like 4 to 6 months. But I do have other things we can open too. I've got Time Spiral Remastered. I've got like Ixalan with Ixalan coming soon. It could be fun to open one of those. Amonkhet also I've got up there. Just a whole variety of things, actually. So yeah, maybe I'll just pick something and we'll do this like once a month or something. Just say like, hey, this thing came out a couple years ago. If we crack one, can we get our value out of whatever current market value is on boosters? Because it's kind of fun, just a neat experiment. Robe says, thanks for an interesting commentary and cool opening. Love your videos, even though I don't play Modern. Yeah, that's the thing too, right? I don't think it's necessarily about me playing. I mean, I have a Modern deck, but I haven't played in, oh boy, I haven't played Modern since before the pandemic sometime. So it was a while. Really, outside of Standard, I haven't played competitively something like that. And I still have Legacy decks, Modern decks, whatever, still put together that I haven't touched in ages. Matter of fact, I've swapped cards out of them because I wanted the lands and stuff for other decks I was messing with for Commander. Not saying I don't like those formats. I just have been so busy. I haven't been in a situation where it makes sense for me to go play those formats. And the 1 or 2 times I have been, I've been part of the organizational group. So like every year in Dallas, I go help out with the Hunter Burt Memorial Open. It's a big charity event. Thousands of people show up. And for that, I usually am on staff helping with something. So while it is a big tournament, gives you a chance to play modern, I just haven't been able to. Actually, not just modern, they have a side event for Pioneer as well. But yeah, and I've actually, now I'm thinking about it, I played 0 games of Pioneer to date. But when I'm on commentary or when I'm helping do social media stuff for them, I'm not able to actually participate in the event. So while those events still exist and the prizes are cool, it just sucks I haven't been able to play them. And when I'm playing individually just for fun, I would rather just play standard or commander, right? If I'm playing for prizes, then I don't mind playing the more competitive, serious formats, really. Jay Bush says, if I had money, I'd buy a box signed from you and never open it. I haven't ever signed a booster box. I've signed playmats, tokens, deck boxes. I've never signed a booster box of cards. It's actually kind of an interesting idea. I don't know. Maybe you'll do that one day. I'll find a booster box, get a bunch of creator friends to sign it. Maybe we'll make that a charity donation or something. I think that could be pretty sweet. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me all on this one. That was just a fun project to go through and open. But we opened, I'm going to estimate about $230 there. So that's actually pretty cool considering these boxes go for about 200 still. So we came out ahead and I got some cool cards that'll fill out probably more commander decks or end up being cards I trade or sell to get other things that I want. So that's actually pretty neat. What's my favorite deck in standard right now? Whichever one I'm playing tomorrow, because I'm always building new things and messing around with stuff. So feel free to check out my channel. I pretty much tell you on each video if I like or dislike them a lot of the time. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like standard is pretty wide open. Actually, to be honest, historic's pretty wide open too. But seeing the world championship, seeing what we're running into on the ladder, truthfully, outside of mono red and to some extent mono black, we're playing against a pretty good variety of decks these days. And people are trying not to do stuff with Eldraine things and with fairies and with food and, you know, enchantment based decks and artifact based decks. So it's hard to complain right now. There's just a lot of good stuff for sure. But yeah, y'all have a good one wherever you are watching, because I know we get people watching from all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I will say, if you haven't, please check out my podcast. It is Color of Magic. You can check it out just about everywhere. I also co-host on the Magic Mike's podcast. If you want to hear us just talk about specifically Magic, if you want to hear about more serious issues in gaming, we cover that on the Color of Magic podcast. Also, if you're going to buy any gaming stuff, not just Magic stuff, check out coolstuffinc.com. They are a sponsor of mine. They help me pay my bills. And you can save 5% on any order over there if you just use code DRAGON at checkout. So go do that. That'll help. And then, as always, if you just want to support me here on the cheap, I have really cheap memberships on the YouTube channel, which does get you some benefits. You can check those out. I have merchandise you can buy. Whenever you see me wearing like the dragon shirts or the power dragon stuff or whatever, that's where that all comes from. I don't know, tons of things. But most importantly, I'm going to tell you, remember to be awesome and be awesome to each other.